Well, hello everyone. How's it going? You're getting just the audio of me today because I feel like crap. I'm also, if you can't tell, sick. Excuse me. So yeah. You may hear a lot of coughing. But yeah. Today we're covering Team Wales and GAM, the Gigabyte Marines. We're skipping out the series, the best of threes, going into best of fives. Winner goes to the knockout stage. Well, the Swiss stage is it's actually called. Loser is out of Worlds for 2023. And this is a rematch of the VCS finals. It's interesting because GAM obviously were the team that were in the upper bracket of the VCS, and then Team Wales made it through the lower bracket run. Whereas here, it's the opposite way around, with GAM being in the lower bracket and Team Wales coming through the upper. Now, ideally, what we're expecting is a lot of games with both both teams showing a lot of different strengths. And I criticised GAM and their playstyle in the opening day of games. They certainly changed it up as we went through the rest of groups, and they're doing pick ban right now, and they're not showing it. Finally, we get it on screen. Ari first removed, Maokai on the other side of the rift. Picks that we've seen a lot of preface out of both the junglers is that Jarvan, and it gets removed from the board. You're kind of now going a bit further down the totem pole of decent picks, shall we say. And personally, I think jungle-wise, you've got Sedge, Ivan, which is something that not a lot of people do preface, but it is an alright pick at the moment. You've got Viego if you want to go to carry route, Lee Sin also. Still some decent options. But the bands being shown so far, the Jarvan, the Alistar, and Ari, Maokai, Jax, and Wukong. We're going a lot further down the totem pole. This does mean Xayah is left open, Kaiser can come through as a response. You've also got Rakan to possibly deny the Lovers Duo. I think that would make sense. However, if that gets locked in, we're certainly going to be seeing Xayah Rakan on the other side of the rift. Cassante comes through for Team Wales, and Spada getting to pilot that pick. It's surprising that Renekton has fallen off as hard as it has. It was seen a lot of play the opening couple of days of the tourney, and now it's fallen off completely as GAM rotate through the Rakan and the Syndra. Getting Katia, strong control mage in the mid lane, can be countered by the likes of LeBlanc, which is a fairly even matchup for her, if I remember correctly. It's an evenish matchup, but Team Wales prioritize the ADC over the LeBlanc, which probably will get banned out here by GAM. As second ban phase hits, really the jungle pool probably will be squeezed even more by Team Wales here. Because Viego still open, Lee Sin still open, Vi now removed. So we're getting a lot of these in sort of engage orientated picks removed off the board, and I think GAM are okay with this. Levi obviously a very prolific jungler when it comes to aggressive sort of play styles, and there's that LeBlanc run coming through as predicted. Now the follow-up is almost certainly going to be the interesting bit, because both teams are lacking their junglers. Team Wells lacking their mid, so maybe we see an... Oh, Ari's already banned, so what is that? Talia ban? Maybe coming out from GAM? Certainly an option Glory has gone towards in this tournament. I think it will make sense for it to be removed here. Other picks, it's actually going to be Nico removed. Bit of shock there to me. There's the lead then coming through. I think Sejuani would honestly be a good option here for GAM. Provide a bit of frontline for Desire and Syndra. And you just have to be a beefy frontline. That's my sort of mindset on it. May not see it straight away, but obviously it is literally in R3, and it's actually going to be the Viego coming through. And when I say R3, I mean rotation 3. It's technically B4. B5, leaving top till last. It's weird how GAM have drafted this. I say GAM have drafted it. It's weird how Team Wales has drafted this, to be honest. Because they haven't really secured themselves counter pick on a lot of things here. And they've kind of left themselves wide open. They will secure themselves Dioriano, which is a strong pick to say the least, but like, you're not really countering any matchup here. Because you blind picked Lee Sin, you blind picked Cassante. Honestly, I would have preferred first rotation Kaiser Nort, but I think that's what they actually did, didn't they? Kaiser Nort, pick jungle in 3, then ban out your own jungler. Oh no, pick mid there in 3. I don't know, there's a lot of different things you could have gone through here that would have made a bit more sense to me. I think the pick order's just a little off. A bit goofy from Team Wells. That's just my opinion. Probably not a right one to some. But that's just how I feel the draft has gone. It's a little skewed, and GAM have got some favourable matchups of their own. And honestly, a very prolific comp that if it gets on top of you, which, spoiler alert, with the long-range stuns that can be thrown out, it's very easy for the likes of the Rakan, the Renekton, and the Viego to jump on top of you and do work. It's a strong comp that GAM have, that realistically speaking, if they're able to get on top of your Ori, if they're able to get on top of your Kaiser, they're almost certainly going to burst them out and delete them from the Rift. Now, as starts are going to come out here, the rollout, it's a standard fast 5 fan. All across the Rift, the fan of 5 champs. Just spread across, guarding entrances as normal. Nothing out the ordinary. It looks like possibly Team Wells going for an invade to get a early ward in the bottom half of the river. But GAM gonna do the same on the top half, get themselves that ward. It has triggered the roam from buy, and Artemis to try and go open force 5v3 if GAM went a bit too aggressive. They do not. Also, a lot of respect there from Sparta taking this pathing, avoiding the early trade with Kaya. It's nice. Jungle starting on opposite sides of the rift. Lee Sin starting on the warded camp. It means that he isn't going to be... well, his full clear won't be necessarily known. However, he is starting top half of the rift. His bottom side, a lot of trading. Rakan getting chunked quite low. Same sort of story for Nautilus. Taking a look at item starts. Nothing out of the blue, no calls. No, nothing interesting. Summoners. That's a flash burn in the bot side. Ignite's thrown down. Kaiser getting low. Force the flash. And Ignite's used on both supports. Issue is, because Rakan can just throw out that Q and get some sustain through. It's going to be a push for the GAM bot lane, and with Levi also roaming down here, getting an invade, it's going to make it hard for BJ to do really anything. Excuse me. His bot side's losing. He is going to secure himself the Wolf, but Levi just being a nuisance, going to probably steal away this blue. And that's purely because bot lane won out the early aggression. Now, what is interesting is BJ wrapping around, possibly looking for his own blue steal. Would be the most ideal thing for him to do in this scenario. But Kiaya's aware of this happening. Gonna just deny him entry into this jungle. Instead, BJ just has to settle with the scuttle. However, because Levi's still showing here possibilities of him going there, still an option. However, he has just instead tried to force play into the mid lane. Hasn't worked out for him. And honestly, he's falling behind tempo. You think, while Levi exerting pressure into the bot lane allows his champs to get a better setup, allow them to control the wave, it does mean that BJ really got nothing. He didn't steal a camp. He's about even in terms of CS. This is where I think he may get an advantage, is if they're able to kill the Renekton. That's flash forward, dash through, first blood over to Team Wales. And everything that I was just saying about BJ falling behind now starts to dissipate. Even though he's a buff down, he's behind 4 CS, it's negligible. But, like, it's still an issue. As if Levi's able to look for these sorts of plays while you're not getting anything on the other side of the rift. That's just my take from all this. Now, the top side play obviously has kind of... wow, it's actually now 12 CSD. Yeah, that makes a huge difference. But essentially topside, well, it's not that beneficial for the Cassante to only be getting an assist. And Kiaya slightly ahead in terms of XP and level. It's kind of interesting as Levi possibly could be caught. He's going to be hooked up. The Voidseeker will land and he is going to be killed off where he stands. That's actually a good play from Team Wales support and jungle. Able to pick off their counterpart. And now Team Wales get control around this Drake pit. They could honestly look for an early objective. Now obviously, Pallet not going to allow that to happen. Goes, checks the river. He was greeted by Glory, who roamed down. Won't result in any sort of kill, as topside, all out, going to be used by the Cassante, forces the flash out from Kiaya. Getting taken quite low in that extended trade, as Levi stealing away Raptors, going to be spotted here. But GAM claps, and Ori here, that's Scatter Weak landing, Shockwave going to be flashed, and that's going to be the shutdown over to the Viego. He is in a good position. Already up in CS. Now in a fairly decent position with that shutdown as well. That is a huge play as Hawk's going to go wide. The feather's being pulled back. Stuns by taking a lot of damage. Won't result in a kill. GAM finally finding their feet in this game. After 2 quick picks from the Team Wales jungler, he is slowly, but not surely, becoming a bit more of an even game. As a Hawk's gonna land, Xayah forces a Feather Storm out, trading aggressive flash out from Bai. That is gonna be a huge summoner burn, because that isn't Hex Flash Nautilus, which is kind of surprising as this pick. Honestly, very well done. Good use of the Void Seeker to get an assist there by Artemis. And now, kind of look at this play. Flash from Levi to avoid the Shockwave was clean. It meant that GAM were able to secure pressure topside, able to allow them to get this Rift Herald off the back of it, because BJ can't really contest Levi at this stage of the game. Behind by quite a bit of CSD. Interesting thing here is BJ on a ward spotted. That was a bit of a weird grand entrance by Pallet, expecting Levi to go aggressive on top of him. He doesn't fall prey to that bait as a top side. Just seen some standard trading. Not really much more can be said up here. If this Q3 lands, we're probably going to see an all-out. Kiaya just pathing behind. That was a bit greedy. Not going to lie. He could be punished here. Q3 going to be possibly used here by the Cassante. Dodged out. Dominus is procced. Kaya getting aggressive. Got the full Fury stack built up in the bot lane river. We're seeing some trading. Rakan going aggressive. Not level 6 yet, so no quickness available. Scatter Weak also landed onto Glory, who's shaken very low. And GAM getting some aggression out. Unleash Power will not pick up the kill, but the Scatter Weak lands. And the Orb gets the kill. Solo Bolo to Kati in the mid lane. As bot side, trading coming through, that dredge line lands. And that is some even trades as top. Cassante forced the wall out, taken quite low. But Kiaya, he is taking a lot more damage back and gets soloed in the top side. GAM continuing to fight across all fronts as the TP going to come through from the Renekton. Sorry, it's the Ori, and she gets on top of the target. 2 kills go over to Team Wales, and Levi is forced to fend off 3. He's unable to get much more, and GAM lose out on that play. It looked promising at the start, but Team Wales fighting tooth and nail throughout this game. This was just a clean solo Bolo. Just pops his health bar. Unleash Power does so much work there. Top side, Caddy thinks he can win out the 1v1, but once a Cassante goes all out, the damage is just stupidly high from the Qs. And he just gets absolutely deleted where he stands. Here, it's just a great Depth charge, landing, shock, blast, sonic wave, into Ori damage, into Kaiser killer instinct. It's just a wombo combo of doom that Slater cannot escape. And a lot of kills went over there to Team Wales' top side. Cassante got himself a frozen mallet, frozen gauntlet, and is just able to keep this Renekton at base stupidly easy. BJ was looking for a play there, and he was on a ward which spotted both attempts at a play. He's going to be well aware that he was on vision there. It was bot side. Gonna see some aggression out from GAM, trying to get the push. Top side is a losing state on the Rift for GAM, so they're kind of ignoring it. As Harold's going to be summoned in the mid lane. Going to be getting some juicy plates. And Levi trying to steal camps. They'll continue to be a nuisance in BJ's jungle. Now, of note, what we were saying was, this is not a Hex Flash Nautilus, which is kind of surprising to me, because I'm used to seeing it. And I'm thinking it's commencing stopwatch. And what would be the other futures market? I think this is just a weird Nautilus set of runes. In fact, why don't we check it? That will be the smart thing to do. It would just make sense to check it, wouldn't it? Okay. Excuse me. Yeah. So commencing stopwatch or perfect timing. Minion DMAT and Cosmic Insight. It's a bit of a weird build, to be honest. Used to obviously Hex Flash, so you can go for these aggressive hook plays. This leads me to believe he's going a bit more supportive and trying to sustain through fights and not allow GAM to get there because he's still alive, able to root them. And like, maybe on a second rotation of sums. Or ability, sorry, I should say. It's a bit of a weird one, to be honest. But like, I get or I understand it. In some regard, because why wouldn't you want a stopwatch? As a support. Like, it just means you're able to support your team more. I don't know. I'm not really the biggest of fans of it, but hey. It is what it is. And maybe he just uses it and wins the game off it, even though we know he doesn't. I'm interested, though, when he uses it, though. That'll be the surprising thing. As the turret plates have fallen off, we're starting to see the teams switch lanes. Mid lane becoming the home of the ADCs. Looking ahead for this Herald. And what do you know? It's surprisingly going to be Team Wales who've already gained access to the rift as mid lane. Hook can be thrown out. Featherstorm also used the quickness, chucked in top, forces the cleanse out from the Kaiser. Nautilus chunked low, and the Dominus procced. The kicks forced out, and so is the flash. Bit of mistiming there, I think, from Team Wales. Bit of miscommunication more so than anything. Kaiser really didn't need to flash there if Lee Sin was obviously always going to go for that kick. BJ, force flash, locked up into the air. He's going to be caught out and bursted out by GAM. Herald secured. And the Gigabyte Marines fighting very, very well in this mid stages of the game. Getting the right picks, choosing the targets well. But that honestly looked suspect from Team Wales. The fact that there was looked like miscommunication there from Artemis and BJ, who I think's having a fairly poor game on this Lee Sin. Even though he has the most kills for Team Wales, I still think he's underperforming, and it's purely down to his early game. The jungle path he took while Levi was making plays, stealing away his camps, were very bad, and he's been punished for it. As here, this he really didn't need to do, and because of his aggression to go in, he gets turned on immediately and killed. Simple as that, and it does mean that excuse me. It does mean GAM get to fight back some control of this game. They were behind, bear in mind, the goal difference for a while, and they finally clawed it back to an even state. And bear in mind, they've been fighting fairly evenly with their opponents. So, as this game goes longer, scaling comes through from this GAM squad, I think it looks a lot more beneficial to them. Excuse me. So, 17 minutes in. Let's take stock of items. All mythics! Purchase except for support. Kraken Slayers for the ADCs. One item basically across the board. Stopwatch picked up by the Rakan here. No surprises there. Clearly seen the inventory of this Nautilus and thought, oh, I want one too. Now, what I will say is, Rakan Stopwatch probably a lot more beneficial than Naut Stopwatch. And realistically speaking, Team Wales have been looking for picks with the bot lane trying to 2v2 fight a lot. But it really hadn't resulted in much. Like, what have they actually gained from this? Is All Out going to be used? Killer Instinct on top of this. Dominus also used. Xante gets away. That was a clean kill for Team Wales. However, they're giving up a lot of pressure in the top side. Mid lane tier 1 falling quite low. They're giving up a lot of pressure. Another TP coming out from Team Wales in mid lane. They're investing quite a lot here to keep this tower alive. But they've already lost the tier 2 top for what? A kill and a tier 1. This is a beneficial play to GAM still. You get 2 towers essentially in the form of the top lane tier 1 and 2. A lot of chunk damage to the mid lane tier 1 as well. All for basically a kill and a tower. Kind of still worth it for GAM, to say the least. And with that, they're able to kind of maintain some pressure in the game, as this was just kind of a very clean kill. Once the Q3 lands, Kaiser gets to come through, And while Kiaya tries to sustain up, there's just too much damage in the spot side for him to deal with. Team Wales get another kill. Now, a minute away from this Chem Tank Drake as BJ gets launched forward into all of the GAM members. Yikes. Chemtech Rift strikes again. And that's a pick on the jungler, meaning this Drake's probably going to go over to GAM. They've got 2 towers out of this. Scatter Weak lands, and that's another kill over to the Gigabyte Marines. Levi picks that one up. And Baron, instead of the Drake, is the prize GAM get. Jungle down, support down. You've got no engage if you're Team Wales, so you have no business coming into this side of the rift. Baron gonna be almost certainly secured here as Rakan on the flank. Pallet could get a dirty grand entrance if he picks it off. As all out comes through, Levi gets executed. That's actually huge. Team Wales could look to contest this as Kaiser, she goes way too far in. Featherstorm also going to be used, and that is going to be another pick. GAM get another kill. And it feels like only a minute ago it was 7-3 in terms of kills. GAM have just flipped this game on its head and into their favor once more. Now what I will say is, never mind, Wales forced the back away from the Drake extremely quickly. They started up and Gamma just like, thanks for the leash, kids. They get themselves their second Drake of the game after this play. And this here is just good play overall from Caddy. He keeps them away. And while yes, Sparta gets a kill onto Levi, pulls him out the pit, tries to make it a bit more even. But the fact is, when your Kaiser is going headfirst on her own into the pit, trying to steal, and gets absolutely nothing, she's going to die to the literal 4 members of GAM in the area. And bear in mind, the kills that the Marines have got in the past few minutes have been picks from overstepping members. That there was an overstep and a half, as mid lane, that's going to be a death charge used, Killer Instinct forward, and this Xayah is dead and shut down. Wales looking to get a kill onto Levi, who's forced a Heartbreaker away. They get themselves a pick onto the ADC, but while that's all going on, Caddy is securing the inhib tower. And he's staying around, getting a lot of chunk damage onto this Ori. As Pallet on the flank, he's looking for a play. No TP on Kiaya, so there is no option there to go for any form of fight. As GAM squad tried to get reset and reconfigured onto the rift, as Team Wales are able to sneak away a kill onto the ADC. This personally was a well done play by Wales. Once that depth charge lands, you're guaranteed the knock-up, because Xayah, we know, used her Featherstorm early. Here you get a decent chase down, you forced GAM into the jungle, forced them to scatter, and pretty much go on a recall. So you get yourself pressure into the mid lane, you secure 2 towers. This overall was a worthwhile play for Wales, even if they do give up a inhibitor tower for their trouble. Now, GAM playing an aggressive game, camping out in the Wales jungle, looking for a pick in this mid lane. They see Artemis, they see him, they get on top of him, cleanse forced out, but instead it's going to be Nautilus in the lead under the targets. Double kill goes over to Caddy, as in top half of the fight, stopwatch is used by this Rakan to keep this Syndra to keep herself alive, and somehow it works out. GAM get 4 kills and almost certainly They're going to get themselves some pressure into the spot lane, secure the inhibitor, secure probably this mid lane tier 3, as Glory going to be run down by the Rakan. Flash forward from the Viego on top of the mid laner, chunking her out. The W is used, the depth charge is too late, and Levi secures himself his 4th kill of the game. An inhibitor in the mid lane also falls. GAM getting aggressive, getting spicy, diving this Wales squad. And you have to feel this was kind of a telegraph play. The kick comes through, but it doesn't do enough to dissuade GAM. They get the Nautilus, and that's a big kill for Levi to get, because it gives him the transformation, it allows him to lock up the Kaiser, and as a whole, it allows GAM to get so many kills as this dive onto the Orianna. Just huge from Levi, using the full range of the Viego kit to get onto this pick and get the kill. Also, you need to point out there the fact that Glory was almost very close to escaping. The fact that the honey fruit kept him alive a little bit longer. If the Nautilus had respawned quicker, which granted cannot be controlled unless he dies quicker, but as a whole, if Nautilus got there, Levi probably was in a bad situation and probably would have given over a shutdown. Instead, what ends up happening is he just gets a kill as knock up into the air, goes Lee Sin, hit by the Scattered Weak, and that's a huge amount of damage as the Unleashed power executes him off. Artemis, now the target, is Renekton, jumps on top of him, slicing through the health bar, and the chase down comes through from GAM. Getting on top of this Kaiser is Levi, who kills her off. Now gets the transformation, Heartsteel comes through, and that's the W, landing a double kill to the GAM jungler, who is able to pick off 2 crucial kills that have secured game 1 for the Gigabyte Marines. Personally, breaking down this game, I think you have to blame Team Wales. The fact that they showed some miscommunication in this game that cost them crucial kills, some misplays out of BJ early, gave Levi full control over jungle. It just meant that as the game got later, this Viego got more and more scary, and it meant that Team Wales really had no fight back. Now, as this is the best 5 and I'm very ill, we're gonna skip to... which game is it? Which game do we want to look at? I think we want to look at game 3 or 4. I'm not entirely sure, so don't blame me. I think we want to look at game number 4. Essentially, there's some interesting picks coming through, and I want to talk about them as it happens. So, game 4 up next on the docket. The last game that I'm going to be breaking down fully tonight. We can technically look at the other games. But yeah, 2-1 is the series at this stage. GAM obviously winning it out in the long run. And here, coming into this 4th game, a lot of expectations are for GAM to take the series here. And yeah, they do. As they get themselves onto blue. It's kind of surprising, because teams have kind of favoured red side during this tournament to get the counter picks. GAM have kind of favoured blue more so than other teams because it secures that strong first pick. everyone knows blue is good for securing an OP. I think that's the mentality for a lot of these squads, is securing an OP, securing comfort first, and not allowing Team Wales to get it. Now, bans coming through, Casante Viego was traded between the two teams, and obviously Wales were able to find a win with it. So was GAM, and so they get added to the ban list. Ari stayed stock standard bans. Wales ban out Desire, saw a lot of success in that. The Maokai and the Jax, stock standard for them first two. That does leave open this Kaiser as the priority ADC in the meta right now. Wales going to respond by stealing away Caddy Syndra. That pick we saw in Game 1 have a lot of usefulness for him. He looked very good on it, and it looked very comfortable to say the least. So, Wales stealing that away means GAM forced to change up their roster. Now, Nautilus coming through here in second rotation for Wales, or first rotation actually. Kind of interesting. A set comes through for GAM. Now, this is somehow a flex pick. It's a top lane pick, tried and true if you're Adam, but it could be something Pallet plays, especially now that Renekton's locked in. Now, it could honestly go to Caddy, for all we know. And Team Wales have kind of left their draft quite wide open. I don't think it will be a mid lane set or Renekton. I think we're more likely to see a full AP mid laner like Diori or Talia for Caddy. Maybe even as Akali. Who knows? He did showcase his Victor as well. But that's neither here nor there. I think there are a lot of different options here for GAM to go with, and maybe even an AP jungle if it was set and Renekton in the top half of the map. But looking at the bans coming through, Lee Sin and Nocturne. Lee Sin locked in for Team Wales. Nocturne and Sedge the bans for them. Trist removed. You've got to accept maybe even a Sivert ban here. Aatrox actually going to be removed instead. Kind of surprising these bans and picks coming through. Callista, the lock-in for Team Wales here. And a slight wry and a giggle coming out from the GAM coach. Clearly, something was expected there. Wait, was that the GAM coach or the Wales coach? One of the two. Either way, a slight giggle coming out from him. As the rest of the band's coming as the first wrote. I can't speak. Picks coming through. Wukong. That was banned out in game number 1, and finally Levi gets his hands on it. Obviously Nova it, and give him Ori. A lot of ball carrying champions for the Orianna here. You got quite a decent train line of champs to get the big picks. And honestly, with how Team Wales have drafted, I like this Orianna a lot. Now, the Rock gets locked in. This is a weird comp. Not gonna lie. You've got a lot of burst, a lot of wombo in and combo in out from the Wales comp. CC for days as well. You're expecting a massive team fight from them. GAM, similar sort of thing. This is two very strong team fighting comps. But I think you've got to keep your eyes on to Caddy. That shockwave needs to be huge if you're GAM in order to win fights. And it's a similar sort of story for Team Wales, is you need a great unstoppable force from Sparta to secure a teamfight win for the Wales. But as draft has finished, we are getting into game number 4 of this best of 5. As a whole, these two teams drafting very similar comps, looking to go blow for blow throughout this game. As the series is on the line, GAM 1 win from going to the play-in, well, exiting the play-ins to the Swiss stage, and Wales, the opposite, 1 loss away from exiting Worlds completely. We get onto the rift for game number 4, and the two teams honestly need to get some form of early start. Early start usually leads to a big snowball, and as the fan of 5 is thrown out by either team, no cheeky wards just yet going to be placed down. And the game gets to become interesting. Especially with BJ's path. He baited going down to the bot side after showing in top. Is eventually going to bait himself down to the bot side. Go and try and get this cheeky ward. Actually, he's going full invade. Was placed down, but the flash forward from the set gets a mass amount of damage down to BJ. Immediately force a flash over the pit. Huge from the GAM bot lane. That's a pause. Nice. Wonder what that is for. I'm gonna continue to eat my chicken. Nom nom nom. So, as it stands, I'm assuming it was BJ pausing. Because immediately, as soon as he flashed out, he stood still for quite a bit in the pit. Looked like an issue on his end. But that was clean from the GAM bot lane. Set running Hex Flash as well. Means he can go for these sort of cheeky plays. Not really feel punished by using his flash. Which is a common Set thing, to be honest. Excuse me. Gonna zoom forward here to where are we getting to the game? Here we go. Back into game we go here. I do feel. There we go. Here we go. Back on the rift. Back in style. And already a Hex Flash play being charged up. Set not gonna land it. Instead just goes back to clearing the wave. Back to the standard laning phase. Now level 2 gonna come out earlier for Artemis as the flash hook fails from the Nautilus, who gets chunked out, thrown very low as Set, getting on top of the Calista, forcing a lot of damage as Wukong forces the flash out of glory. Trading across the map, GAM are favoured in. They're able to once again force early aggression. Levi. This is the same sort of thing as happened in game 1. Stealing away camps from his opposition, the Lee Sin. Getting to take the Raptors. Following his he's just following his clear. Gonna be spotted out here, BJ. As Kiaya collapses through. Will not get punished as Malphite just goes back to the wave. Looked like he was possibly looking to collapse round BJ. Possibly looking for his own little invade. But look at Levi. He's aware of it. He's wrapping down mid. That is Groovy in a bit of a weird position. Obviously, he is down a summoner. Levi gonna re-gank him. Gets on top of him. The Haymaker comes through and secures first blood for Pallet. Oh, BJ. He's in a bad situation here. Levi's hunting him. Never mind, he's actually securing the scuttle. But once he clears that, he could be looking for a hunt. BJ possibly gonna be in a bit of a situation. It's gonna actually get away. Spots that the skull is taken. So he's probably going to path down to the bot side to secure that second scuttle. However, he is not. He's very slow. Gonna take a reset instead. Kind of surprised by this. Because I'd expect to wrap around to the bot side. Because you just saw Levi in mid. You saw him probably path back into his jungle on the top side. So you know that this bottom skull hasn't been taken. So you should have honestly pathed down there, as this is just poor positioning from Groovy. Simply put, he should not have been that far forward, considering he just fell prey to a Levi gank that burnt his flash. So the fact is, you know jungle is still in this area, so you should be aware of the possibility of another gank. Now BJ, because he's fallen behind in tempo even more, didn't get the scuttle. Levi secures that. It now frees up the bot lane to play a lot more aggressive, as Levi is showing down here. This honestly is a really poor early game from Team Wells. Good dodge there by Caddy on the scatter of the week. Keeps himself out of the stun, out the CC. And yeah, maybe he is actually going to steal away that camp. That's huge. It's gonna... Never mind. Levi gonna get a few of them at least. Yeah, as a whole, this early game's quite bad from the Wales. Pallet shows himself mid once again. Freeze up as that's a flash forward. So much damage comes through, and a shockwave on the immediate level 6 gets a kill over to Caddy. How do you get punished by that? You knew he was there. I mean, sure, Set's flashing on usage. That was such a well-timed ability there from Set, honestly. Very well done, as the re-engage comes through from Levi. Secures himself a kill onto BJ. Now, Sparta in a bad situation as Set's just waiting. Waiting to pull him in. Bish bash bosh. The flash forward from Sparta. And then the scatter of the week secures the double kill over to Team Wells. That was looking pretty dicey, to say the least. I thought that GAM were going to pick that fight up cleanly after a little bit of a scurry around. But Sparta does well there to pick off Levi. Had he not, that would have been a massive jungle advantage over to GAM once again. So we watch this again. This is just poor from Glory. Not respecting the set flash. And just gets deleted. Here it looks interesting because Set is channeling the Hex Flash. Expecting, obviously, the Unstoppable Force. And while initially it looked okay for GAM, Malphite outtrades Lee. Oh, I get what was happening. He was essentially trying to bait and try and get enough time for Slater to collapse in. It, however, doesn't work out. And what do you know? Surprisingly, Herald's the first to fall before the Drake. And it is a Cloud Drake, so you don't really prioritize it. Honestly, it's very surprising that it's taken this long for a Drake to be even noticed on the Rift. Now, interestingly enough there, BJ spots that the red buff is up for Levi. And that does mean that BJ is probably aware that Levi is on a reset, trying to come back out to the bot side of the map, and then possibly go for a play on the Drake. Once he clears out his bot side jungle, obviously. That's my mentality as a jungler, would be to do that. And so, the fact that BJ is wrapped to the top side of Rift, possibly looking for a play of his own on the other side of Rift, is kind of smart. Knowing that GAM slightly stronger at this stage of the game. Ori does a lot of work already. Excuse me. Set constantly trying to look for plays himself as well. Makes it so Team Wells really have very little avenues of attack, as once again Pallet just shows mid. He's camping it. Gets the pullback as well. Haymaker used, and that's a decent chunk of Glory's health bar, taken below half HP. Actually, I mean, Drake goes over to the Marines, but the collapse comes through. TP used, Drake secured. Where's the Unleashed Power going? It's going to go straight onto the Renekton only, but that Haymaker showstopper deletes BJ where he stands. GAM get 3 for none. And what can I say? Pallet is on fire. This set is turning into the carry for GAM, even if he is a support. Clean kills going over to him, just getting these wombo combos set up. He is doing the work the Marines need to make it to the Swiss stage. As we watch the fight again, just keep your eyes on Pallet, trying to back Team Wales away. He gets onto the Malphite, brings him in, peels for Caddy, a huge E into W, deletes BJ where he stands. Then he just gets a nice Q to kill off the Malphite, and that wombo just combos through Team Wales. And it's surprising to say that a set is carrying the game. Most kills on anyone right now. And the surprising thing is he's going tanky. I'm intrigued by what he ends up building, because Dead Man's Plate honestly isn't a terrible item for a set support, because it allows you to get the movement speed early. I'm pretty sure that would be what he builds. Having said that, he has got Negatron's Cloak. He could honestly go Gauntlet. Ice One Gauntlet. I don't know. I don't remember what set's built nowadays. And I used to play set support a lot. As a topside, Dominus is procced. Malphite forced the flash. He hasn't got... Well, he does have the Unleashed Power. Unstoppable Force, sorry. Just not going to use it there. Knows full well that the Renekton will kill him if he stayed. Sparta down a summoner. Possibly going to be down his life if Renekton dives him here. No backup from either team up that top side of Rift either. So, relatively speaking, it's an isolated 1v1 that Kiaya is going to be happy to be winning out in. As mid, Ori getting aggressive, trading forward to scatter weak is lovely from Groovy. Glory, I keep calling him Groovy, I don't know why. But the shockwave lands. That's a lot of damage. Trading forward, your leaf power will not kill him off. And it's a solo bolo over to Caddy as in the jungle. That's going to be the Cyclone used. Kick finally forced, but Set's here. And Pallet secures the kill. This game is insane. As a support player, it's so nice to see a support carrier's top side. Sparta getting taken low once again. Not going to result in a kill, however, as Levi just chunking out the mid lane tier 1. Gets himself a plate before they fall. Watch this again. This is just clean trading out from Caddy. Solo Bolo. Tanks the tower, and you probably think he's going to die here. As then you have BJ trying to protect his mid lane. Trying to clear it out. Trying to deny any minions hitting the tower just to secure some CS. It doesn't result in anything for Team Wales, but GAM, they get themselves an even bigger advantage. And what do you know? It's probably going to be a very tanky set. It's looking maybe like Jack Shao. Or Gauntlet. I'm not too sure just yet. Because I'm pretty sure both them items are used. But who knows. As second Herald, Levi is targeting this one out for GAM. Try and get more objectives for himself. So far, 100% control rate on them in this game. Caddy transitioning up to the top side. Gonna use Leandri's burn to just deny Sparta's shield. And it also allows for this Herald to be secured pretty easily. There's a TP available for Kiaya if a fight breaks out. But Levi, he's coming in for a play. He's gonna catch out Artemis. Force the flash out early. Shockwave lands. Kicks used by Lee Sin to peel. But the bot side, Glory is going to be caught out. Renekton flashes on top of him and gets the trade of summoners. But GAM going to take them advantages that they've just picked up and go for this Hex Drake. Maybe even looking for a kill onto Glory here. Oh, no one saw that power. Fail flashing there. Now he just steps forward. He's kind of a target though. He is with a big shutdown. That's going to be the showstopper, pulling Sparta in. That Malphite does have ulti, and the kills are already going over to Team Wales as they've killed off the Kalista. They killed off the Orion and Wukong. But they still haven't got that set. This fight goes to Wales. They get themselves a Drake and somehow find their way back into this game number 4. And finally we can say, after a torrid game 1, Team Wales fighting back tooth and nail. They are down 3k, however, this Drake and this tower gonna pull them back slightly more. As we watch this again, simply put, Bai goes on a target that's worth shutting down. Kiaya tries to get onto Kalista, but gets absolutely deleted. And when the Ren stacks get pulled out, Hook lands onto Caddy, who gets deleted off the back of it. And yeah, GAM get a bit too greedy, trying to go into the backline when they couldn't really do so. Honestly, a poor target for the Set ult as well. And let's be honest, Set is kind of sat on the wall right now. I'm looking at the pathing from Team Wales. You've got BJ hovering, trying to protect. will not do much in this position. And GAM just brute force this mid lane tier 1. But the engage comes through and the Kalista is caught and bursted out as the dive forward ends up in a trade. One that is favourable as the carries from Team Wales are down. Slater narrowly escapes as BJ is afraid to chase even further. GAM get away with 2 kills, only losing their jungle. Now, what I will say is, this state of the game still is very wide open as we watch this play again. And simply put, this is just brute forcing the tower. GAM tried to get way too much here out the back of this as Levi goes way too aggressive. That killer instinct looked a little bit too aggressive, especially with the tower shots landing. If that sonic wave landed, it would have been death as he misses another. But this one does not matter as Caddy gets deleted. Now Kiaya being hit by the spears, not going to be rendered to death just yet. And in the end, Levi chasing down the target as Slater lands the Void Seeker to get himself on a killing spree. Glory chasing down Levi. Bit of a weird situation. Uses a Rift Herald. Topside though, that's Pallet caught. He's got a big shutdown. The bounty on this support will be going over, you have to feel, to the Lee Sin as the shutdown comes through. That's a juicy bounty secured. Team Wales continue to fight as the Cyclone gets used onto Glory. The killer instinct comes through and Slater becoming an even bigger threat than he was before. Also looking at his build, full lethality here. Very, very interesting to say the least, and it's actually, is that Raiden Virtue set? Weird build, to say the least. I would have honestly thought he'd go for, I don't know, Locket. In fact, both supports have got Radiant Virtue. Weird. Weird, weird, weird. Either way, he's still doing good. 4-2-3 versus 1-1-7. Somehow both supports have the same amount of KP. Well, that's a lie. They both have 7 kill participations. That's the easiest way to word it. 8. Sorry, I can't. Wait, no. I'm dumb. Nautilus has 1 more kill involvement than Set. So that's kind of surprising. Anyway, Drake Cup in 15 seconds. Both teams have one of these. GAM securing the early push in the mid lane. But Wales have early Drake control. With the Kalista and the Lee Sin, you have to feel Drake killing is very easy for Wales as the unstoppable force is used. But Sparta, he has no one following him up. Shockwave also used, but it is gonna whiff. As now GAM and Wales down 2 big ultimates. It's just gonna be a straight up 5v5, and there goes the Cyclone getting on top of the backline of Team Wales. And a re-engage comes through, and he somehow finds his way out. As in the bottom half of the fight, Renekton dies. In return, the Syndra dies. But Kaiser, she's being chased down under the tower, ran down as a showstopper, pulls down the Kalista under the tower. This is Pallet's game, and he is deleting the enemy ADC. He's just pushing forward like a mad lad. He gives no care for the opposition. He is that strong. And what do you know? We could still see a straight fight here. 2v3 around this objective. Respawn's gonna come through. Like, now, as Lee Sin goes forward onto Caddy, he's caught him out and got the kill. Levi going aggressive, good use of the clone there to disengage. But the Drake, it was leashed for Wales by GAM. And what do you know? They're going to be able to secure that one, even though the respawns come through. Malphite almost gets pulled in by the set. And this game, it's interestingly chaotic. These fights are so close. And we saw one here. There's no unstoppable force. The only big engaging was this Cyclone. Levi does well to disengage here, as on the bottom half of the fight, it's a trade 1-for-1 as Glory and Kiaya both fall. Down here in the tower, the render stacks get pulled out, and Kaiser dies, but Pallet gets an amazing showstopper to kill off Artemis. Then it's just a weird situation as GAM tried to keep BJ away from the Drake, but they're peeling out so awkwardly that Caddy just dies. Now, what I will say is, it was a good clone there, because if Levi got hooked at right then, Team Wales would have headed straight to Baron. No doubt about it. Look at that damage from Callista. Artemis is in a strong position, to say the least. He's got a lot of ability to delete the health bars if he's able to stack up them spears. Already got the Rage Blade, already got the Pork in his inventory. With a stopwatch as well, he's got a lot of protection and ability to sustain through a fight. However, with what GAM are doing right now, they're baiting Team Wales into a false sense of security. As Wales forced to go up. On the flank is the Renekton, rooting down, forcing the cleanse out from the Callista, but the top half of the fight is where the action is happening as Glory already down once again. Renekton somehow still alive. The showstopper tries to dissuade the Callista, but it is not enough. Top half of the fight, Malphite gets a kill, but Kaiser is popping off Callista, trying to do work. The spears are stacked up into the Wukong. Pallet left alone to watch Artemis. The Callista forced to run as the set stands tall and GAM get themselves onto the Baron. I think the easiest way to describe this fight is just watch Glory. Pulled in, killed off, unable to do anything. And GAM, while that is a huge unstoppable force and it does secure a kill, realistically speaking, Set is doing work, just denying any sort of action, while Kaiser is just able to pick up the kills. This game's got to a stage where the support has transitioned his advantage over to the ADC. Oh, that scatter of the week sucked! And what do you know? Artemis is caught, rooted, but not dead until now, as Kiaya secures a kill. Levi is here, and the Cyclone you have to feel is gonna come out, and the whirly bird of the sun monkey comes through, secures BJ, and this GAM Baron as the showstopper comes through. GAM get 4, and Pallet is a monster. The base is now the target as GAM continuing to march onslaught into this base. All I have to say is the boss has arrived, and this set has been unstoppable. He is doing the work for his team as a face call comes through, and down goes Callista. A double kill to Kiaya as Game 4 ends in GAM victory. simply put, this game was not even close. It was scary. The Callista was getting powerful. But one misstep there at the end resulted in a win for GAM. Hands down, Palette played phenomenal in this game. You have to feel that Set will be kind of banned out against them. But only time will tell as GAM advances to the Swiss stage. We're done for tonight. I could finally rest my weary throat after a very weird day. But before we do, we might as well look at the other two games. Game 2, let's take a look at Pick and Ban and discuss it. Rel coming through for Bai, Kaiser, and then Talia. Looks like Viego carry game. No surprises there. 9-0-3. Oh god. Yeah, it looks like B&J just went on an aggressive jungle all the objectives as well. This looks like a just jungle diff sort of game. All the Drakes. Is he top of the chart? No, he's not even top of the chart. Mid's top. First blood. Early. Yeah. Just looks like a clean, dominant game. Doesn't look like it was close, to say the least. Like, once Viego got rolling, it allowed Kaiser to get going, like, securing objectives. Yeah, it just seems like just a clear-cut dominant game from Team Wales. Game 3, GAM won. Very low AP. And that's something we've seen a decent chunk here at this world. Teams not picking up full, like, split of damage. A lot of comps going with pure AD in comparison to previous tourneys where you'd get at least some AP in the jungle or in the mid lane. Even in ADC, but here, this is a full AD comp from GAM. Yeah, it's weird that it's worked out. I'm kind of surprised Levi went Abyssal Helm. Because that's kind of saying that he's trying to be the AP carry. If you think about it. But, hey, what do I know? It's just a weird item. Also, Jax has got a bit more AP. So that makes a bit of sense why. In fact, that makes a lot more sense. Jax is trying to be the AP carry. And, yeah, so having the Abyssal Helm makes sense. I like that. This is kind of very intuitive or clever from the Gigabyte Marines. A very flexible team comp. Now, on the other side, what is that to comment about? It's a Rel with... You've got a combo there. You've got a few combos, but... Combos with Rel and... So, Talia and Jarvan comps tend to scare me. Even though Jarvan is strong, usage of Talia in this tourney has been kind of poor. If we look at her win rate, it's very low, I believe. As I just tournament World's Play-ins, mid lane. Here she is. It's 14% win rate. Like, she's been picked 7 times. This is like tied third most played with the lowest win rate. Ari's been played 6 times and lost 6 times. That's kind of funny. But this is one that surprises me. That she's only seen 1 win. And who got that 1 win? Glory. So he was the only one to win with it. When did he win with it? Oh, it was the second game of the series. So it makes sense why he went for it here. But like, it's still very poor showing at this World Championship, to say the least. That goal graph, 18 minutes onward, just dominance from GAM. Look close, but so does the objective trading. Fairly standard, because once you get to there, Baron take, yeah. Game then becomes an easy snowball. This is just GAM outplaying the opponents and doing well. The damage graph honestly shows a lot of interesting things. Namely, ADC damage. 11, 2, and 7. Insanely high CSD. Good game. I'm going to be honest, pretty impressed by Caddy during this series. He looked very good. If we're looking at GAM overall, going forward into Swiss, who do they face? I don't think they win their first matchup because they're in Pool 1 versus a Pool 1 team, and I think they got a hard matchup in Gen G. So naturally you're going to see my predictions come through, because that's going to be on Wednesday. My prediction's going to be live. Going to be making them tomorrow. Yay. I love doing that. But as a whole, this series, the games that we watched, GAM had control. Game 1 was a lot of mistakes from Team Wales. Game number 4, similar sort of thing. There was mistakes that cost them that win, or the game. They threw it in the end. And the issue is, teams now in the Swiss stage, the likes of Gen G, won't or shouldn't make the same mistakes as what we saw in play-ins. So there's going to be a huge step up in level for these teams. And I think GAM may struggle. I think the comps that they've shown really rely on Caddy being on a control mage more so than anything. Like, this is just a freebie to prove my point wrong, but like, he's a strong control mage player. If you force him onto anything that's not a control mage, chances are he's going to struggle. And with the pool of champions, like, Ori's kind of a normal ban for teams here at Worlds, or in the players stage. Syndra is a strong pick, so it may get picked against them. I think Chovy is a good Syndra player. I think he plays it quite a bit. What am I saying? He's probably one of the best players in the league. I'm actually going to look at Chovy's pool. Where is Chovy? Chovy! Chovy. There we go. He hasn't actually played it this year. Wow. I'm wrong. Anyway, I'm pretty sure in his career he's been a good Syndra player. Where is it? Either I'm blind, it's here. I'm wrong. Forget whatever I'm saying. Okay, so, yeah, he's not a good Syndra player. We've learnt that. Oh well. I think this is a good place to end it off. Tomorrow, we're doing BDS PSG and that carnage of a series. I hope you enjoyed today's 6th stream. I'm hoping to be better by tomorrow, he says. I'm certainly feeling a little better after this stream. But thanks very much for joining me. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new, if you want to.